Okay, good morning, everyone.
Morning, Mike. When you have a quarterback change like this, do you and Kellen try to carve out a little additional time to meet with Andy to make up for lost time or get up to speed, or has that already been incorporated in the process and he's where he needs to be?
I would say it's incorporated in the process. I know Andy was up here Monday just to get a head start on everything, and then also with the extra day, we feel very good about the preparation. I'm not as concerned about Andy Dalton's preparation as much as I'm focused on Ben DiNucci's. We have to make sure that that the number two is that's where the biggest preparation change is going on. I mean, Andy also has a lot of experience being in the number one chair, so I think this will be a seamless transition, for him to get ready, to prepare, and for us to get the whole offense prepared with him in front. But we need to make sure that Ben advances in his new role.
How do you accommodate him? How do you do that during a normal week?
Well, it's just most of it comes down to rep distribution. Obviously there's things that go on in the meetings, in the walkthroughs. So just the fact that he'll be handling all the look team reps. So he'll get a lot of live reps. He'll get some number one reps. There'll be segments in practice that he'll get number one reps. His interaction in the room is obviously from a different chair now. So I mean that's all part of the transition that we're going through at the quarterback room.
Typically, do you give your number two quarterback time with the one?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, and I think it's even. There's been times, during the course of the year that I'd even give the threes, a rep or two with the ones. It's something I've always done with our practice squad players, and especially a young quarterback, because we've all been through it at some point in our career where you have a young guy that has to play at a certain point in the season, and then you just don't want it to be where this is the first time he's ever stepped in that huddle, and regardless of his position. So it's something that I've always been cognizant of, and frankly I've done it my whole head coaching career, where you try to slide in a practice squad guy. Now it's a little different this year because I think with the type of no off season and different training camp, but in a normal year, if you talk about growing that rookie class, those young guys, you have to give them some of those real reps. And there's always a point in a season where a veteran could, he doesn't need to see, Tennessee or common pass concept over and over again, that we can maybe give that to the younger quarterback. So that's, like I said, that's something I think it's important in those young guys' development.
Is today the day where it hits you that Dak's not around when you're on the practice field for the first time and everybody's together for the first time?
Oh, I think so. But frankly, I just had a chance to see Dak. He's in the building, and you just see the reaction everybody has to that he's here. So, and I just think that speaks volumes about him as a man, and just the electricity that he brings to our football team. So, yeah, I see what you're saying. I think it'll be, you'll have that moment when you get out there. I think it's only natural. Unfortunately, I've been through it before a couple of times, but on a personal note, it was great to see him today.
Did you know he was going to come out today, or did he just show up?
No, yeah, I knew he was coming in today.
Mark, you guys said on Monday that you didn't quite have an idea yet of what it would look like, Dak's participation while he goes through this. Do y'all have a better idea of how he can be incorporated in things like meetings, or how he wants to handle that?
Not yet. I mean, I think it's obviously too close to the surgery to really exercise that type of plan yet. Because I mean, he's, I think the most important thing for him at this point is just getting comfortable and trying to get some sleep.
Mike,
Michael Gallup said yesterday that Dak, when he got in the huddle, he kind of took control of the huddle. Andy, when he got in the huddle, sort of took control of the huddle, said, "This is what I'm here for. This is what I came for." And every time he goes to the huddle, he says, "I came to win." Is that what you look for a veteran to come in and take control? And he's certainly done that. Do you expect him to continue to do that?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, you'd like to see any player in the leadership position, especially at an adverse moment, bring clarity and some type of, emotion, to that situation. And I think just the fact that Andy obviously recognized it and the words that he chose obviously was impactful on his teammates. Obviously expressed by Michael Gallup. So, yeah, I think it just shows you what he's all about. Both as a player and as a person.
What has this week been like, Mike, in kind of resetting and regrouping after such an emotional Sunday?
It's been different. There's, the head coach chair. You have a lot of things come across your desk. So obviously a lot more so far this week. Frankly, we're not even into a normal Wednesday practice schedule yet, but I'm thankful that we had the extra day. I think it definitely helped. So, but yeah, it's been a little hectic.
What do you make of?
Do you do more about during a time like this as that coach? Do you take more of the offensive group, or what do you do?
Did you ask me who am I spending more time with?
Yeah, you spend more time when it's transition. You got to have a quarterback.
Yeah.
You spend more time with the group.
Well, I've been trying to be in both rooms. Is the goal this week. I was heavy offense at the beginning of the season. Last week I was more towards defense. But at the end of the day, you have other responsibilities and other things that come across your desk, and it's. And I think every head coach is going through it right now. You're involved in conversations that aren't particularly in line with a game plan meeting or a player installation meeting. So we're just kind of dealing with more of that these last 2 weeks than normal. But my goal is to be both in the offense and defensive rooms.
There were 3 plays on Sunday where the special teams unit didn't have 11 players on the field. There was one where they had too many men on the field, and then 2 field goal blocks where they had 10 instead of the 11. What have you made of just some of the sloppiness that has showed up on special teams for the first 5 games?
Well, I mean, it's a substitution issue that we feel we've corrected in that particular situation. Where you're substituting, there's usually 2 ways to go about it. We changed it more to the way I've done it in my past. So I feel that we've rectified it. But it's like anything when you're in situational football, you have to decide what your substitution pattern is going to be, and how that's communicated, and everybody does it a little differently. But our process has been adjusted this week.
Can you elaborate? And I know that might be an example of something you don't want to elaborate on, but I want to ask anyway. Can you elaborate a little bit on what you've done over the course of your career when it comes to substitutions?
Well, I mean, it's general. It's just more how you communicate, and who's the point man of the communication. Obviously, in the past, in my career, I was the play caller and the head coach. Where now, I'm the head coach that's moving through all 3 lines on the offense, defense, and special teams. So just how you incorporate it. Frankly, these are things that you'd like to feel like you'd work out in your first preseason, and no excuse. But this is something that's come up a couple times for us this year. This wasn't the first time that we've had substitution issues in that particular substitution pattern at that particular point in the game. So I feel confident that the new way will solve our issue.
Hey, Mike, one thing I consistently hear broadcasters say about teams that struggle in the first quarter, and they're usually ex-players making these comments, is that the team wasn't ready to play. Sort of an indictment on the coaches almost indirectly. Do you buy that if a team doesn't play well in the first quarter, that means it translates that they weren't ready to play?
I think it's such a general opinion to throw out there. I don't know what the basis of why that opinion would be applied, so I obviously don't have an opinion to answer your question. But I do think in our particular self-scout of the first 5 games, there's and I'll just tell you exactly what I told the team. I mean, anytime something happens, good or bad, it's a moment. If it happens once, twice, it's a pair. 3 times is a sequence, and if it happens 4 times, it's definitely a pattern. So, we're just focusing on the type of team we want to be. The areas of emphasis that we practice each and every day, and that it needs to show up on Sunday. And frankly, there's a lot of good football that I feel that we can build off of. There's some things we're not really as clean as we like, but I have confidence that they will come. But really, the one major black eye on our football teams, our turnover ratio, and it's something that we put a lot of time in. You can see the effort and energy. The players are working at the techniques, so the evidence is there. As far as the know-how to, we need to create more opportunities, and that comes in your finish as far as covering the football pursuit. So these are things we're emphasizing, working over and over, and I have confidence that the turnover ratio will be a definite asset as we move forward. But that's been our biggest number one, and if we're being criticized for it, we should be, because that's my number one. That's my number one focus.
What do you anticipate Leighton doing today?
I'm sorry?
What do you anticipate Vander Esch being able to do today?
Leighton he's labeled as a full practice is the plan. So we'll see how he goes.
If he's able to play Monday, you get the starter back, so obviously I know it's a big deal, but does it kind of set things back in motion to where you thought they would be entering the season?
Oh, I hope so. I think anytime you have players, especially Leighton's his key player as far as his responsibility of playing the mic. Yeah, I think it definitely hopefully gets us back in the way we were going into the Rams game.
How is Kyler Murray a little bit different than what you've seen some quarterbacks come into this league, and just talk about the challenges of defending him and what are the key points you have to do there?
He has a unique skill set. He's so quick and explosive, and he can get the ball out of his hand very quickly. Obviously, he can make any throw. He can hit all the quadrants of the field. So, and he's leading the league in rushing as quarterback. So I think that in itself, tells you the stress that he puts on your defense. And they play in that, and their system of offense is played to the quarterback. So they got excellent skill positions all the way through. And their O-line gives you challenges because it's they're a bit different in a way, from their stances and how they. I think they've advanced the run game more from last year to this year, in my opinion. So he's a dynamic player, and he's definitely the centerpiece of that offense.
How much do you feel a need to sort of address the mental and emotional side of things in a situation like this versus just kind of letting guys process it on their own individually?
What exactly are you referring to, the mental?
Just coming off the Dak injury, and do you feel like the need to kind of address it as a team, that side of things, or just kind of let guys process it their own way?
Well, we address everything, from our roster to the new challenge. You evaluate the last challenge, so I think it's part of your normal process. But we clearly understand what Dak means to our football team, and as I've talked, I spoke on earlier, I think it's just the fact that he's in the building, just the buzz that you feel, just from that, I think that speaks volumes about him. So, but yeah, this is the tough reality of the National Football League. It's on to the next day, the next preparation, and the next challenge. So. And I think the extra day clearly helps us in this particular situation.
You mentioned earlier about
Excuse me?
You mentioned earlier about some of the things coming across your desk. NFL has changed COVID protocol here over the last couple of weeks. Are those some of the? How much time are you spending on that and those discussions because it's disrupted the schedule, it's changing the protocols in some areas? Is that one of the things you were talking about, and about how much time have you spent on that in these last few weeks?
I mean, we took the first 5 minutes of our team meeting today just to discuss the reminders and the new protocols that are in place. I mean, if you walk through the cafeteria, you'd see the spacing. Went from 6 feet to 10 feet. So I guess the best way to describe it is it's really kind of one continuous conversation. I mean, we have reminders that I go through each and every team meeting, and having your mask on is a reminder. I'm frankly keep waiting for the memo to tell me I have to wear my mask during pressers, so I can look like you guys. But we're in tune with it, and knock on wood, our guys have done an excellent job with it, to date. And and the goal is to continue to have the result that we've had so far. And it's part of our everyday scheduling, reminders, and part of our flow here at our organization.
With Blake Bell, your emergency quarterback, and unfortunately you didn't need to go there, but he's a former college quarterback. Would he have stepped in there? Should Dalton need to have exited for whatever reason on Sunday?
No, I think we're just going to go to a full wishbone and just totally open it up. So I'm kind of working on it. I was kind of going to save that for Monday night. It is a national TV game, so don't tell anybody.
I'll be sure to tell the Cardinals.
Yeah, all right, thanks. We good? Okay, thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.